Guys, and welcome to the first devlog for my online RPG named Mentanimus. There isn't really too much to show in this video, but I will just go over the basics of how everything's set up. So first things first, in terms of the web API, the backend, it's written in C#. It uses Entity Framework Core and SQL for the database side of things. I use Tiled to create the maps and import them using GM-Tiled2. Currently the maps are imported directly onto the client, but I will be moving them over to the server once I handle player movement. Both the game server and the client are written in GameMaker Studio. So here's the server, here's the client. And I guess that's really about it. I may as well just boot things up and show you. I already have the web API running, just because once it's running I really don't have to ever reboot it again. So I'll start up the server and I'll start up 2 instances of the client. So the server's up and running. And just in case anyone's wondering how I'm using VS Code with GameMaker Studio, there's an extension called Stitch that you can download. Stitch is a bit of a godsend. It's similar to GMEdit. Since I've switched over to Stitch, I've found it to be a little bit easier since I prefer using VS Code. Cool, so this is how the client looks when you start up. You can modify settings and stuff. I've just turned off music to make things a little bit easier when recording, that way you can hear my voice. You can create an account. I won't go through the process, or maybe I will, whatever. Cool, so first name can be potato, last name can be cheese, and the email can be potato.cheese@gmail.com, and the username can be bubble. And then we just set up a password, and then hit create. It says that you need to verify your email address before logging in. I've turned that off. Well, it's something that I'm going to be adding anyways. Cool, so we can log in as Bubble, and here's Bubble. It says welcome Bubble down the bottom, and everything's cool. Then we can come over here and we can log in as someone else who's already has an account. Can log in as Matthew. Matthew has some items in his inventory. We can drag this around. Everything's good. You can press I to toggle the inventory, toggle showing and hiding the inventory. Items can be dragged into whichever slot they want. You can't drag items outside of it. I assume that when I do add that support, I'm gonna be able to delete items that way. I'm not too sure. If anyone has any suggestions, feel free to let me know. Cool, so there is player movement. Player movement isn't 100%. This is part of the sprint that I'm adding in at the moment. As you can see, movement isn't 110% synced up. If you can notice, you can hear the fireplace in the background. When I move away, you can't really hear it. Cool, you can also communicate with other players by hitting the tab key and typing a simple message. So Bubble says, hey. Matthew can reply. You can also do private chat messages. This will obviously be integrated into the concept of adding friends, or adding friends to a friends list and communicating with them that way. But at the moment you can just private message anyone that's logged in. So let's say Bubble wants to communicate with Matthew with a private message. You can do so, and Matthew can respond. Cool, so I think that's roughly about it. At the moment, all I'm really trying to do is fix up player movement, and then from there I'm going to start looking into adding in some NPCs. And I'm kind of just winging it at this point, but I will be setting up a proper sprint at some point. I do have a few things in the backlog, but they're not really game orientated. They're more back end stuff, but I do want to focus more on the actual gameplay aspect of things. Anyways, and of course you can log out and it says that Bubble has logged out. Yeah, and that's about it. So I hope to see you guys in the next video, and yeah, thanks.